Okay, so this is going to be the first video in a series of many. I'm just at a place in my life where I'm not entirely sure of my future or what it holds, as I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that same way with the thing going on. I don't want to say because I'm scared of getting banned or censored. But with my free time, what I've been wanting to do is go back through my journals and see what's been relevant for me, what I've kind of been writing about throughout the years and things that have stayed true to me. So I have kind of been making this map, if you will, of all of the things that still stand out to me as important from all of my journals. There's so much, and what I've realized is that my journals, it's like the chronological timeline of my own spiritual awakening or my own shift into a higher dimension of consciousness. I've only gotten through 3 journals by this point, and I started them in 2015, but they just get so real and so intriguing and interesting and literally life-changing. So I just have wanted to make a series of videos explaining kind of what my own process was and sharing what I learned through my journey and just the things that I felt were important enough to write down, because I am very serious about keeping my memories and documenting my life. Like, for as long as I can remember, I have thought of myself as like a human experiment for whatever reason. Like, kind of strange, I know, but I really thought about that, and that I'm just like a little scientist running around in this body that grows, and like how weird is that? We're just here on this earth that we don't understand anything. So a little backstory is that I was born in Utah and therefore was raised in the Mormon church or the LDS church. But when I was 18, I kind of realized I live in a bubble in Utah and I wanted to experience something else. So I went to Texas for college completely by myself. I had never been there. I didn't know anybody there. I only visited the school one time very briefly, like hardly even got a tour of the school, but I just wanted to get out, so I went. And when I was there, it was like my little happy bubble of what I thought life was popped. And I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what was real, what was true. I had no idea how to be happy. Truly, I had no idea how to be happy. I felt so lost and alone and sad. And it was like the people there, as soon as they heard I was from Utah or that I was Mormon or even like ex-Mormon, once I kind of started drifting away, they still treated me like I was an alien. And I had never experienced that before, ever. I was just at a time in my life where I was really seeking help and guidance because I was lost and I was suffering. So I started keeping a journal in 2015. And one of the quotes that I wrote down on my little map here was from September 21st, 2015. And it says, "I want to be psychic." And it says to keep a daily journal. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And then I wrote myself a little affirmation before I even knew what affirmations were. And I said, "I will become intuitively psychic." To be honest, I don't think I even understood what intuitive meant. Like, I had no idea what the concept of intuition even was. But then in my journal, I asked for dream guidance and direction, which is so incredibly relevant. If you know me now, you know I'm obsessed with dreams and I'm obsessed with intuition. So this has aged so well. It makes me so happy. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is keeping a journal and how this really is an access point for that higher consciousness. I was recommended the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron about a year ago, and I had already been keeping a journal since then, but this was a new take on journaling that I had never heard of before. And Julia Cameron recommends that you write these things called morning pages. And so it's like every morning, as soon as you wake up, you get out your journal and you start writing. Why? Because you are in a blank space. Like, you just woke up, you were just asleep, you were just dreaming, wandering in these other worldly places, like other dimensions, and you wake up just kind of blank slated, but you're in this really special spiritual place. If you can just let yourself stay in that position without hurrying and grabbing your phone or waking up and being like, okay, to-do list, you know? And that's a trap that a lot of us fall into. But the morning pages really changed things for me. And I want to read you a quote from Julia Cameron. And it talks about people kind of, your ego and your thinking mind gets in the way. When you say every morning I want you to write 3 pages, the first thing you're going to think of is like, no, not going to happen. Like you think I'm going to write 3 pages in the morning, but the trick is that you're not waking up to start writing and have a beautiful story come out and this is going to be a book. You literally just write stream of consciousness. So it's whatever's coming up in your mind. And the trick is no judgment, no stress or anxiety about it. You literally are just letting your thoughts flow. So one of the quotes says, I still don't understand why the pages must be done in the morning. I write so much better at night. That's ego coming up with excuses. And she responds, let me be clear. Good writing is not the point. Think of your pages like a broom. You stick the broom into all the corners of your consciousness. If you do this first thing in the morning, you're laying out your track for the day. Pages tell you of your priorities. With the pages in place first thing, you're much less likely to fall in with others' agendas. Important right now during all of this stuff going on, okay? Your day is your own to spend. You've claimed it. If you wait to write pages at night, you're reviewing a day that's already happened and you're powerless to change. So the morning pages isn't just about clearing your mind and getting your feelings onto paper. They genuinely become a map for your entire life. Like I will tell you right now that at this point, all of my ideas come during my morning page practice. Like even, I wrote a book, right? I've always liked writing. I'm not saying that you need to write a journal so that you can write a book, but I did write a book at 22 years old. It's on Amazon if you're interested. Actually, no, don't support Amazon. All of my ideas come from my morning pages, and it's like you really do just get a clear idea of where you're at and what it is that you even want to be doing, and you start to get excited about the things that are inside of you, you know, when you wake up in this blank space instead of, getting carried along in others' wishes. It's like suddenly you know exactly what you're feeling and exactly what you're thinking, and it just is a game changer. So Julia Cameron continues, pages clarify our yearnings. They keep an eye on our goals. They may provoke us, coax us, comfort us, as well as prioritize and synchronize the day at hand. If we're drifting, the pages point that out. They will point the way true north. Each morning as we face the page, we meet ourselves. The pages give us a place to vent and a place to dream. They are intended for no eyes but our own. So that's another point, is you are literally writing for yourself. You don't have to feel any kind of pressure or judgment because nobody, absolutely nobody, is supposed to be reading these pages. And I think we get caught up in a cycle of judgment of ourselves too. And we think this isn't good, or we start to judge our own feelings like, oh, this is bad, I shouldn't feel this way, or I shouldn't think this, or I had this dream last night that was so embarrassing and I'm even embarrassed to put it down on the page. And that does happen. I bring that up because that was me this morning. But you know what I do? I write it anyways, because every time I do, some kind of insight comes through, or like a subconscious blip will come through where you'll be writing something and your mind kind of a little bit drifts away, and then you look down and realize you wrote a totally different word than what you were thinking. That's a subconscious blip, and it's telling you what's going on internally, like deep, deep, deep down. That's what's happening. So another quote, she says, just as a good rain clears the air, a good writing day clears the psyche. So therapeutic. And a lot of people will ask, why should we write? Like, what does it matter if I'm writing in the mornings? What does it matter if I'm keeping a journal? Like, a lot of people will think that it just sounds like a waste of time and that they don't have time to do this. But honestly, you don't have time not to do this. If I'm being totally serious. Like, anyone who comes to me for any type of advice, I guarantee one of the things I'll tell you is to start keeping a journal and to start writing your morning pages, just stream of consciousness. So in Julia Cameron's words of why we should write, she says, we should write because humans are spiritual beings and writing is a powerful form of prayer and meditation, connecting us both to our own insights and to a higher and deeper level of inner guidance. So to pause on her quote for a second, I am a HeartMath certified coach or mentor. I like to say mentor because that's what I always wished for when I was going through my whole awakening process. The purpose of HeartMath is to awaken people to their heart's guidance, which is their intuition. Their research has shown that the intuition you receive when you're connected to your heart, it's defined as non-local intuition. Non-local meaning not defined by space, so it's not coming from a certain place, not your brain, not your heart. It's coming from seemingly nowhere, and it's not confined to time, meaning no past, no present, no future. Your intuition is like this mysterious, magical force. And from part of what I'm learning from going back into my journals and reading them is that this might be controversial, but my belief, I've done a lot of research, I came across this thing called non-local consciousness. And essentially matter, like when you get really deep down into it, there's nothing there. Like matter is just space. It's just frequency and vibration. But consciousness is a fundamental aspect of all matter. Consciousness is what? Nothing. We can't place it. We can't find it originating in the brain. We can't find it originating in the body. We don't know where it comes from. So consciousness is considered non-local. And in one of my journals, I had this whole thought process of God must be consciousness because it's all-knowing. It's the fundamental basis of everything, and it's invisible. Nobody can figure it out. Like, this even baffles the scientists who discovered what consciousness was. They don't understand it. They don't understand how it works. So when you come to non-local intuition, it's like low-key, you're communicating with God or the universe or source or creator or whatever it is that you want to call it. So when she says connecting to insights and a higher and deeper level of inner guidance, that inner guidance is that intuition that is God. And that's why she says we're spiritual beings, and this is a type of prayer and meditation. She continues, we should write because writing brings clarity and passion to the act of living. Writing is sensual, experiential, grounding. We should write because writing is good for the soul. We should write because writing yields us a felt path through the world we live in. We should write above all because we are writers, whether we call ourselves that or not. And it just gets me so hyped because it's so true. A lot of us will stay away from doing something because we don't consider ourselves that thing. People won't write because they don't consider themselves a writer. People won't draw because they don't consider themselves an artist. And this notion of I am this or I am not that totally keeps us away from doing so many things. But if you just write and get your thoughts out on the page, it's like suddenly you have this map in front of you of your soul. And you can read through and see what your soul is telling you every single freaking day for as long as you want. And I just have like a full box filled with all of my journals. And it's like, I've always said, when I die, please publish every single one of these because it really is the deepest look into a human being's soul. And the amount of insights and just literally revelations. Okay? Revelations. Epiphanies. Visions even. Those types of things come through to me when I'm writing. And it's like sometimes I just sit there and look at the page like, holy shit. And I sometimes cry and get emotional and just have to say thank you because it is so profound and life-changing and just beautiful. So going back to my own quote on my little map here that says, I want to be psychic, and it says to keep a journal. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself psychic by any means, but I have developed a really keen sense of intuition, and it freaks people out sometimes. Sometimes I'll have dreams, and because I wake up and write, I remember my dreams, and I'll communicate to them like, yo, you did this in my dream last night and it was kind of messed, and they'll be like, how did you know I was going to do that? Sometimes they'll literally be like, I was planning on doing that. How did you know that? And I'm like, bro, what? I didn't know. I just dreamed it. Like, I don't know. Because I've been writing for so long, I'm really attuned to the subtleties of life, and I understand my own feelings so well that it's like writing has turned me into a low-key psychologist. And I can see myself and other people so well that when people tell me their stories or their feelings, I can pretty much put words into their mouth in a better way than they even know how to explain or describe, because I've been there and I've experienced it and I've written about it and I've read over it and re-understood it for myself. So, I mean, I guess maybe to some people that's being psychic. I would not say that I can read the future or that I can communicate with the dead or whatever, but I am really, really intuitive now because of it. Like, everything just becomes really predictable. So shit, maybe I am psychic, I don't know. Writing in your journal is the best thing you will ever do for yourself in your entire life, and I cannot recommend it enough. I mean, if you don't do it in the morning, that's fine. You can write at any time. I just recommend that you write and that you don't judge your words. You don't let anyone see it. One of the tips that Julia Cameron gives is that for at least 3 weeks, you're not allowed to go back and read what you wrote. And it just helps because after those 3 weeks or whatever, you stop judging yourself so much, for one. But then you get to go back and suddenly you see all of these patterns emerging. And it's like, I had no idea that this was such a big deal to me, or that I felt this way so often. But it's like you go back and you're like, oh, there it is again, there it is again. And then you realize this is something that I'm really dealing with, that without writing, I would have never been consciously aware of it. And then from there, you get to take action. And it's like your whole life becomes this little treasure map. So now my intuition is telling me to do some heart math. I did it before I recorded so that I'd be in tune, but this will help you with your own writing practice too. So what I want you to do now is grab a piece of paper and a pen, go buy yourself a journal or whatever. And before you write, I want you to focus your attention in the area of your heart or your chest area. Start to deepen your breath and slow your breath down. You can close your eyes if you want to. And you can also do this on the go at any time, and no one will ever know you're doing it. You don't have to put your hand here. I just like to. And start to imagine your breath flowing in and out through your heart. And from just doing this action right here, what happens in your body is that you create this whole chain reaction of chemicals and hormones, and all of your systems start to come into alignment, meaning your hormonal system, your endocrine system, lymphatic system. And the truth is that your heart is your true brain. And your heart has an energy field. So you're taking in information from your environment all the time that your conscious mind is not aware of. And it takes in this information and from your heart sends that to your brain, and then your brain makes decisions and fires neurons and moves your body and all of that. But the truth is that it starts in your heart. And because our heart is an energetic organ, this energy will communicate with your own energetic field. Even though you're just watching a video, even though it might be way in the future from when I recorded this, doesn't matter. The energy stays here and the information stays here. So once your breath is more calm and your heartbeat is less erratic and chaotic, I want you to ask yourself, what am I feeling? And what am I thinking? And even ask yourself, heart, intuition, subconscious, whatever resonates with you, ask, what do you want me to put onto paper? And I guarantee something will pop up. If not immediately, wait, keep breathing in and out through your heart and just listen for an answer, because it will come. And if that doesn't freaking inspire you and excite you to take pen to paper, then I don't know what else will. Also, in 2015, one of the other special notes that I wrote down was that I started using affirmations. My note says that I was feeling like the whole theme with my 2015 journal was so much unhappiness and so much feeling of not belonging. So I started using affirmations, just saying like, I am loved, I am safe, I am creative, I am smart, I am intuitive, whatever. And that's also a really, really powerful practice to bring into your writing. So I hope that this video begins you on the best journey of your entire freaking life, because I know that it's changed my life in so many ways, and that if I didn't journal, I never would have written a book, and I never probably would have done half of the shit that I've done. So I hope you love it. And please, I hate asking it, but subscribe. I'm going to keep making a lot of these videos, and they're going to get pretty deep, and I'm just so excited. But please also comment what you wrote, your experience writing, if you write in a journal, if you felt the energetic connection doing the heart math and the breathing, if your intuition came out to play, anything like that. I really am here just to share experiences and to help build myself a community of like-minded people and people who are just on a similar path as me, because it can be a really, really lonely road, and this is a safe space for all of us, if I don't get banned and censored. Freedom of speech! Alright, well, I think that that's all I have to say. Love you all. Coo. Coo, coo, coo.